All right. Hello. Nobody's here yet, but I'm sure we'll get some people trickling in. Maybe. We're going to do some showcasing today. Not going to be a very long stream. This is an early stream for me. Usually I can't stream until like 11 p.m., but I have a little bit of free time. Got to come home from work a little bit early today, so I'm gonna take advantage of this hour or two and show you guys what's going on. Got some interesting developments. See if I can get the standalone player to open up in my other window. Probably not. Nope, it won't work. Okay. Something I'll have to figure out another time. I can use the embedded player. I'll try to make like a little, oops, messed up there. Okay. We're gonna make a, little castle-like thing. Welcome to the stream, Jordy. Gonna play around with some textures. See if I can get it to do what I want. Hmm. Oh, there we go. So, right now I'm messing around with different shapes. I have some nodes that I put in the compositing tab for creating this effect in Blender where everything looks pixelated, kind of like pixelated. It was actually kind of tricky. It's kind of tricky to pull this off because you can just use like, let's say I'm making something in regular old Blender, which is what I'm using, and I want to make this pixelated effect like this, how everything looks all pixely and stuff, which is the stylization I'm going for. If I want to pull this off, a simple way of doing it is to take a material in Blender, go to the actual shading tab, or just go to the actual shader, give it a color ramp. Change the distribution of color from linear to constant, and then just limit the amount of colors you can have in the ramp itself down here. I don't know if I'm articulating how that works properly, but We'll give the floor the same material. So now this object is only gonna display these 4 colors down here. And then what you could do is just change the resolution of your render to be really, really low. Just drop it down to some like extremely low number. We should get something super pixelated. So you'd want it to be a little bit higher than that. You'd also want to turn off the anti-aliasing, anything like that going on. I'm not going to get too crazy with this, but... By turning the resolution down, and that's how a lot of people do it. They do a little more than that. But I didn't want to do that because it only works for... You have to give every single material that you want to use in your file, in your blend, a color ramp, do all this stuff. So I went with just doing something with the actual output of the whole thing, and compositing. So now every single thing that I make inside of this world here, inside of the scene, is going to have this pixelated effect. I don't know how easy it is to see. And my camera turned off, didn't notice. But that's kind of what we're trying to do here. There we go. One thing we are going to work on is making a guy. I mean, I kind of just farted this out earlier, this little figure. But what we need to do is draw out the character and then use that reference on the page. Right now, all that I'm showing is just shader stuff. It's just material, it's just stylization stuff. It's what things we actually eventually do make are gonna look like in the game. It's gonna be this kind of thing, right? That's what I'm going for. Harsh shadows, pixelation. I don't know if that's a word. Welcome to the stream, Will. Thanks for coming. Streaming much earlier today than I usually do. I got off work a little early, and my fam is a little preoccupied at the moment, so I had some time. So I thought I'd test out streaming a little bit early today, just to show off some stuff. Right now I'm making this horrible figure to test out different silhouettes in the shader that I'm working on. Well, everything I'm saying might make sense in a couple seconds when I go back to our other scene. Right now it just looks like a bunch of garbage. What you're looking at is the shader, or the stylization that I'm going for. I kind of cracked the code this week on how to make it look like how I want to look. And so right now I'm just testing different shapes, different textures within this style. Actually, I'm going to take this camera and move it out a little further so I can see more. Man, I really hate to say how much I just like the box head discoloring. This pixelated style. I want to try something real quick though. Like my vid about game development, had no clue Blender had a game engine built into it. Yeah, well thanks, I'm glad you liked it. Blender does not technically have a game engine anymore. You have to get it from a second party. Now, the old Blender, back when I learned how to use it, did have a game engine built in. And it was pretty, it really lacked a lot of features that you would want in a game engine. I used it a lot though because I'm one of the few people on Earth who took the time to actually understand how the thing worked. And so I'm very familiar with it. And so anyways, the people who have made the game engine functional again for new Blender that has the Eevee rendering engine, which the old Blender didn't, the Blender that had the game engine. The people who have made this game engine added more features, made it easier to, I would say it's not as fleshed out as an actual game engine, but if you know how Blender works and you know how the old Blender game engine worked, it sure is convenient getting to do everything in one program. I will say that it's probably a little bit more weird to learn how to use because it's built into Blender, so it's not like the entire software is built around being a game engine like Unity or Unreal is. So you kind of have to work. I don't know how to explain it, but it can get kind of a little bit. For me, it's not too big of an issue because I've used it for a long time. have a history. Right now, I am just doing all kinds of crazy crap right now. I'm just... Because of this shader, there's so many, like... So I made this shader. I don't know how else to describe it. Filter. So that everything I make inside of this scene in Blender comes out like this, all pixelated and stuff. This is purposeful. This is what I want. This is what I wanted to do. And I finally got to a point where it's pulling off what I want it to pull off. And I'm going to go into how I did this at some point in detail so that anybody else can do it if they want to. And there's tutorials on YouTube about like doing pixelated styles in Blender that already are out there that are pretty good. What I'm doing is a little bit different from what a lot of YouTube videos do because what I'm doing is the entire viewport and anything I make in there is going to come out like this. Even if I have like a high resolution texture, if I put a texture on something, it's still going to come out all pixelated like this, which is what I'm trying to do. Whereas a lot of tutorials on YouTube, you kind of individually, you create a material that you put on something and that material looks all pixely. But then you have to make every single thing in your scene have like a limited amount of colors and material and blah, 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 blah. This, no matter what I put in the scene, it's going to have the stylization that I want it to have. And that opens the door to a lot of things. So it's like, even though this is super pixely, which is what I want, I still can have this sort of reflective thing going on. And so real-time shadows and all this stuff, harsh shadows, all these things that I want. I don't have the time today, but we're gonna make this is not really a level. This isn't even a scene that's gonna be in the game. This is just a place that does not exist that I'm using to test out different shapes and different textures to see what I like about this is that everything is so simplified that what I'm really worried about with making characters and buildings and levels is silhouettes and shapes, so big shapes. So I don't have to get too concerned with tons of little details. And that's what I'm going for as a solo developer is how can I simplify everything how can I simplify the process while having it still look good and stylized and interesting. And that's kind of what I also think that this sort of pixelated style, it's very desirable. A lot of people are like really want to make a game and pull this off because A, nostalgia. People get nostalgic looking at this kind of thing, and B, I think that these sort of low res stylization things, it challenges people's imagination when they're playing a game in a positive way. And so I think people's brains like this kind of thing. I do. I don't know how to describe it. I'm sure there's a better way to articulate that, but anyways, I'm just going to keep throwing shapes in here and see what I like the most. One thing I could do is take something I've already made, some nice blend files, and throw them in there and just see what they look like when I put them in there. That'd be interesting. That'd be an interesting test. And hopefully my computer doesn't crash. So I have a lot of Blender program applications open at the same time. And everything I do on a gaming laptop, a cheap gaming laptop. Has that old PlayStation 1 feel? Yeah. Your old family had a MechWarrior game. I feel. Oh, man. I know exactly what that game is. Because I had that game. And I played that. I don't remember what it's called, though. But it was like on a lot of computers back in the day. This isn't exactly PlayStation 1. That's not. I do, like, I'm going in that direction for sure. But what's going to be different about this is, like, I'm going to have, like, real-time shadows. PlayStation 1 didn't really have that. PlayStation 1 graphics, if you're going for that, you'll be trying to, like, do stuff that, how should I put it? It's just a lot of weird things that they did back then that I'm not doing here. But oh, where is it? There's a character, there's a dude that I made a while ago. And I would like to put him in here just to see what he looks like with this filter. Where did I put him? Where did I put him? One thing I need to do today, I'm going to try to do tonight, is clean up my desktop. I've just been, all these projects, all these streams, all these videos, I've just been throwing crap all over my desktop. Because I just don't have the time, man. I work. It sucks that you have to have a job in life, you know? You have to. You got to have a job. Oh, camera shut off. You got to work. I have had a job since I was 14 years old. I got a job at McDonald's when I was 14, and I got paid $6.15 an hour. I couldn't work full time because I was a 14-year-old, but I could work 39 hours a week, which is what I did. And that, I don't know if I was supposed to work that much, but I did. And I hated working there, man. Let me tell you. But I have never not had a job since that point in my life. And I would like to work somewhere or do something for a living that I enjoy doing. I mean, that's the goal for everybody. Everybody wants to do that, right? But I'm 30 years old now, and I've been working jobs, just working, doing things that I don't hate, but I would rather not do, right? And I'm at a point in life, you know, I turned 30 this year, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to try using every spare moment I have to change gears into something I would like to do. So that's what I'm doing. And we'll see what happens. I'm just not going to give up. I'm trying to find this file. Stupid file. Where the heck is it? Is it nope. Oh boy. Is it in recent maybe? Aha. Got him. All right. Cool. Now now we'll see if I can do anything. What's going on here? Oh, it's ooh, this is the one that's not simplified. Not this one. I struggle with making time to do creative stuff like music, making coding when you're already tired after work, then other responsibilities on top of that. Yeah, dude, it's like I always get irritated when I hear people say, you know, there's like motivational videos out there where the person in the motivational video will say something along the lines of like, well, if you aren't doing what you want in life, it's because you just don't want it bad enough. You just don't want to achieve your dreams badly enough. That's what the problem is. If you just wanted more, then all of the dominoes are going to fall in place for you. It's like, man, that's ignoring so much reality to me. Like, I feel like for a lot of people, it's just not so simple. You know, you got things going on. You know, you got things you got to deal with. You got circumstances out of your control. You know that you. And that's not to say you can't
feel confident your taxes are done right
to a better place, but it's like just to tell somebody like, well, the reason your life sucks is because you don't want a good one enough. Laz, I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm gonna say Laz. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for coming. What am I doing? What game is this? This is not a, I wouldn't call this a game yet. It's more of some foundations. And we're working on some ideas for a game. It's like right now, what I intended on showing today is, I've been working for a while now to pull off this pixelated look that you see before you, where everything in the scene kind of has this pixely look to it, while still keeping real-time shadows for complex reflections like this, so I can do some interesting things with materials. And the goal was to make the shader so that no matter what I make in Blender, it's going to look like this. So all the stuff in here does not actually pixelated. Everything actually looks like this. But I have a shader that makes it look like this. So now I don't have to make specific simple materials for every little thing. No matter what material or texture I put into the scene, it's going to come out looking like how I want it to look. And that's pretty neat. It gives me a lot of freedom. And right now we're just testing out different shapes, different objects in this scene that it's just really a test scene. It's just a placeholder for what, you know, something more grand that we're going to be making eventually. So I got a character here actually I'm about to spawn in from another blend file that I made a long time ago. Or not a long time ago, so I think for another project. I want to see what he looks like in here. He's a more detailed character, which I don't think is going to work, but I don't know, because I think for this I'm going to have to go for simple shapes. Yeah, I'm going for a pixelated vibe. We're gonna do some more complex things than you might typically see in a pixelated game. But right now I want to see how this guy looks in the scene. And he has no eyes, because I forgot that those were separate objects. I'm actually going to delete him real quick and bring him back with his eyeballs. Because I forgot that when I made him, I did not add eyeballs. Okay. Or I did not connect the eyes to his head. For animating purposes, they're separate. It's going to be 3D, man. 3D. Not 2.5D. None of that. It's going to be like what you see right now. That's very interesting, actually. Having the, Now, the thing is, from behind, you can't really see any details. I don't know if I like this or not. Because what you're looking at is a character that in normal Blender looks like this. Okay? Right? So this is what he actually looks like. This character I made, a Tim Burton inspired, right? In this, looks like that. Now in the game, the camera will be further away from him, so you're not going to really be able to make out any details. So it'll really just be this that you're seeing. And that is interesting. It's good information, though. What it's telling me is we can get a little bit more detailed on just these box cubular things that I was kind of working on earlier. And we can... What I will have to do is get a little bit more crazy with the silhouettes. Like this character, he's very just noodly. But, we're gonna work on it. We're gonna work on it. One of the really interesting things about character design, and I am not an expert on that, but one thing I do know is that something that can be very important is just the shape. So the silhouettes that you make with the shapes of the characters. So with this shader that we're working with, it's gonna be really important that I do that I work with those big shapes, big triangles, big circles, big squares, all that kind of thing. So it's trained with the shader. If I like that time of game, I'm gonna put something. I appreciate that. Let's see, what else can I throw in here just to see? Let's just to see what we can pull off. I've got a few more things. I got a truck. Let's see what a truck looks like in here. I made a old-timey pickup truck, pick-em-up truck. I'm just going through old blend files just to test out shapes in our little scene here. All right, let's throw it in here. Huh. It's mostly gray, so part of its shader has disappeared. Interesting. Or, no, there it is. There we go. There's the material. Part of the issue is with this shader, if the color is too dark, it'll just come out black, right? Which is fine because I'm going to be going with mostly brighter colors, contrasted with harsh shadows. That's kind of what I'm going for. But it means if I put anything in here from old projects with darker materials, which is most of my work, it's going to come out black like this. We can kind of fix that. By doing this. It's interesting. There is a color that is coming out blue whenever I put this in here. I don't know what color it is that turns blue, but there is, I think it's different hues of gray. Don't want to be annoying to a game, but what's the goal of this game? What's the main story? I really see potential in this because I don't really see games like this. Well, I do have I have an outline written out we could talk about. So, you know, more details will flesh themselves out as we go through this process and I see what I am capable and what I'm not capable of doing. But one thing for sure is it's going to be a little topical for today's day and age, right? Because the main, would you say, the antagonist is going to be artificial intelligence. Kind of like Portal, right? It's going to take place in sort of a weird, man, I don't know how I'm going to be able to describe this properly. Because it's going to be a 3D platformer, right? A 3D world where you'll be in like a field, right? Like a wooded area with open fields and valleys, but in the middle of this kind of like bright grassy plain, you'll see a huge robotic structure sticking out of the ground. There'll be a huge wires going around. Just interesting. It'll be a very interesting aesthetic, very interesting vibe. You'll go to different environments that are like that, where there's kind of like a contradiction, where you're kind of in nature, but there are these huge kind of structures, like being on the surface of the Earth in the Matrix. It's kind of, I don't know. I can't really do. You'll see if you keep coming to these streams. You'll see, right? You're gonna see what we're hit the mic there. Sorry, but you'll start to see exactly what I'm saying come to fruition. Right now, we just have this little island where we're testing out shapes. Angle is very important when seeing like this. Yeah, I want to give the player control over their angle. So kind of like what I'm doing with this cube here. There's gonna be a lot of freedom. It's gonna be a very roamable game. I don't know if we're gonna do a open world, because I don't know if I can pull that off with the engine that I'm using. I don't know if I'll be able to make something like that. But it doesn't have to be for what I'm trying to do. Just have big levels, big roamable levels. Can I put code in Blender for this project? You can absolutely. Okay, so this is a great opportunity. Blender used to have a game engine built in a long time ago, before Blender came out with Eevee engine. So back when I learned how to use Blender, 12 years ago now, Blender had a built-in game engine, and it didn't have a real-time rendering engine, which we know as Eevee today. It just had cycles. And back then it had a game engine, and in that game engine you could use, what I'm trying to get at is that you could code things. You could actually code things in Python to put in your game. Although most people just use logic bricks, which is a really interesting concept that was pretty much only in the Blender game engine back then. You could use these logic bricks and kind of connect them to each other. You didn't have to know anything about coding to make a character move around. Now you can use music's kind of loud. Okay, turn down the music. Thanks for letting me know. Please, yeah, I appreciate that. Appreciate the feedback. Please, if you ever come into one of my streams, if the music's too loud, tell me as soon as possible. Because I suck at streaming. That's what I'm learning. Mostly because I am a real person and I have a job, and I don't know how. I see, people trying to get into streaming and they stream 6 hours a day. I wish I could do that. It just is not possible. Anyways, long story short, yes, you can use Python in the Blender game, and especially the new one. Again, this is not built into, like, if you install Blender, this is not going to be in there, right? It's just going to have no game engine. But if you go and you look up the UP BGE, the Up Blender game engine, that's the game engine that this team made, where they kind of brought back the old game engine and applied it to the new Blender, which has all these great features. And you can apply different scripts to things, right, written in Python. And they have really good templates you can work with too. Like that's what you're seeing. Like I got this really good template, and you can kind of change it around, learn from it. Ultimately, I'm not going to use this kind of thing, but like I said, I have to go. It's late right now. Welcome to stream. Hey man, I'm glad you came out. All right. Have a good one. I'm glad you came out. We got a lot of interesting things planned for this. What I need to do now is start drawing. Actually, I need to get a drawing application open, and on my tablet. Ugh. So I have a tablet. It looks like a composition notebook, but it's actually a tablet. And I have a little stylus. It's nothing fancy. I don't have a crazy, huge, like touchscreen pad for drawing. Like this setup here that I have for streaming is just as a laptop, a small monitor. Then I have this light that's actually a magnifying glass with a light built into it. It's not actually a streaming light or whatever you want to call it, but I need to start drawing characters out with big shapes, throw them in Blender, draw some levels out, and then I need to start writing out some of the mechanics that I want to do. So what I want to do is, and this is going to be weird, all right? This is going to be very weird. I don't know if it's going to work. I don't know if it's going to be... I should say, I don't know if it's going to be good. But there's going to be a combat system where you carry a weapon. And it's going to follow in the same direction that a lot of medieval sword fighting games go. Where if somebody's swinging a sword, hit my microphone again, sword down at you, you can block it by putting the sword, having your sword go horizontal, right? With this game, we're gonna use the arrow keys as your main way of attacking. And then you can lock on to an enemy, and then you can use your arrow keys. And then the enemy will attack you using one of 4 directions, up, down, left, or right. And the way you block is if you go the opposite direction at that exact moment, right? And there'll be a rhythm to every enemy. So you got to kind of get used to the rhythm of each enemy. Blocking. So blocking, parrying, and attacking, it's all the same thing. It's going to be the same, happen with the same buttons. There will also be, yeah, and so it's kind of ambitious, I guess. I don't know, for me it is. But yeah, Chivalry. So it won't be like Chivalry. The difference will be that there's not going to be any like where you can hold your weapon up, right, and kind of stay in like a blocking position. That's not going to be a part of it. When I hit the left arrow key, your character's going to swipe left. When I hit it right, it's going to swipe left, and that's it. If you want to block, you need to hit at that exact moment that the enemy is going down, right? So if you want to parry, you need to attack at that exact moment. You can't just hold your arm out like this and wait, right, to block. There's none of that. So it's going to be a lot of it's going to be about timing, right? Kind of like Dance Dance Revolution. You're going to be hitting those arrow keys at the exact right moment. There's going to be different, and there will be indicators ahead of time, kind of telling you which order, because you'll have to go, because it'll be a long. It could, depending on how difficult the enemy is, it'll be a really long sequence of arrow keys, right? That you have to hit up, down, left, right, left, up, right? It'll be kind of, but you can also kind of take a step back, jump away from the enemy, re-engage. So it's going to be like that, right? It's going to be rhythm based, and that's kind of what I'm going for. And then you can use different weapons. You can find different weapons and use them. Some of them are slower so that they do more damage, right? Some of them are faster, but maybe you're not able to parry, or maybe you're not able to really block some heavier attacks from the enemy or whatever, right? So it's like you can make decisions like that. So the game is mostly going to be, that's going to be a small part of it, but a lot of it I want it to be based off like you're solving puzzles in the levels themselves. I just want to have some an interesting combat system, something that's not just you jump on top of the enemy's head, something that's not just, you run away, nothing like that. So that's kind of what I've come up with. Now, whether or not I'm actually going to pull that off, we'll see, right? That's the tentative plan. Yeah, I am by no means an expert game developer. I'm by no means an expert developer. I'm about as amateur as they come. It's something I've dabbled in since I was a teenager, but I've only worked jobs that I have not been a big fan of all the way till now, my 30s, and I'm at a point where it's like I want to try something. I want to at least try to make a pivot. So that's why we're making this game. That's why I'm trying to learn everything I can, and hopefully it goes somewhere. So I'm gonna start streaming on Twitch. I'll try doing both, because they have a really good game dev community on there. That's one thing I do know. Anyways, I'm going to have to put the stream to an end for today. This was a test to see if I could do earlier in the day, see how that goes, see what the turnout's like. We'll probably end up going back to late night streams because that's honestly when I'm going to have time to do it because I just work most of the time. But anyways, thanks for coming, everybody who did. Thanks for coming, Will.